I'm Ben, and this is Hyperfine, resources and tutorials for architects by architects. I've been using Revit for 6 years. Today I'm going to share 4 tips to make you more efficient so you can get better at Revit and faster at Revit when working in your own projects. First, I'm going to talk about keyboard shortcuts, how and why to use them, why they will increase your speed. Second, I'm going to talk about making selections, how to more quickly and efficiently select the objects and families that you want to work on in your project. Third, I'm going to talk about how to more quickly annotate your plans, sections, and elevations based on work you've already done in other similar views. And fourth, I'm going to talk about setting up your actual Revit interface, how to best arrange the different windows on your screen so you can more quickly work in the windows you need to work in. After you watch this video, check out hyperfinearchitecture.com for more free tutorials, free Revit resources you guys can download today, and paid professional courses. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you have a request for a future topic. Let's get started. The number one thing you can do to get faster in Revit is to get comfortable using keyboard shortcuts. Learn how to use your keyboard and your mouse simultaneously. If this is something you're not used to, it might be uncomfortable at first and you might think that you're faster just using your mouse, but that's not true. Keyboard shortcuts are a lot faster because you don't have to divert your attention away from the area that you're working in by dragging your mouse up to the ribbon window, looking for the tool you want, clicking on it, and then coming back down to your project. If you look in this example that's on the screen right now, you can see I'm able to create walls, doors, windows, dimensions, switch between views, do a bunch of different tasks without diverting my attention and my focus from the screen I'm working on. I can use all these tools just by a couple quick keyboard strokes. So the more keyboard shortcuts you can learn, the more comfortable you get using them, the faster you'll be. I've got an entire video, it's about 8 minutes long, just covering the top 50 most common shortcuts I use and what tools they launch. You can check that video out. You can also download my shortcuts file to load into your project. It comes with a PDF of the top 50 commands I use most often, and it comes with a discount code for my professional course. So make sure to check that out on hyperfinearchitecture.com/resources. The second thing you can do to get really quick at Revit is to get better at selecting objects. A lot of times you're going to want to make changes to a wall or a door or a room or whatever object it is, and as your plans start to get more filled up, it can be more difficult to select the objects that you want. So there's a lot of different ways that you can select the objects. I'll cover a couple of them. One good trick is to do a crossing selection. So if I click and drag from the right to the left, it's going to select everything that it touches. So you can see that as soon as I touch an object, it gets selected. So it's going to select everything. If you do a left selection, it's only going to select objects that you completely cover up. So in this case, coming from the right, I'm getting all that stuff, including this floor, all the way up to here. If I start my selection from the left, I'm only going to get objects that are completely covered. Right now, that window is the only thing I selected, even though I had drawn this huge square. Okay. If you do a right crossing selection and get everything, you can use FF to bring up your filter. This is a list of everything that you have selected. Always hit check none, and then you can just single check on the objects you want if you want just your windows. Okay. You can also do a select all. So if I want to select all the walls that are like this wall, I'll do SA, and that selects all of them. I can do HI to isolate, so I can see them, and now I can make changes to all of these walls that are exactly the same. One thing to note on my custom shortcuts, SA selects everything in the current view. I think the Revit default will select everything in the entire project. So just be aware of what you actually have selected. The third thing you can do is make use of the fact that you're often going to have drawings that are in line with one another. So what I mean is a second floor plan that is directly above a first floor plan, or in this case I've got a bunch of sections that, even though they cut through different areas of the building, are all in line, and so things like this wall and this wall are going to be in the same location in each section. So if I go into this one, it's fully annotated. I've got a filled region here for the grade. I've got some insulation in the walls. I've got dimensions. I've got some other text notes. And instead of redoing all of this, what I'm going to do is select everything. Use my shortcut for filter. I'll check none. Then I'll pick only the things that I want to copy over. So I'm not going to copy anything that's a wall or physical geometry, because that's going to duplicate it in my project. All I want to do is stuff like detail items, dimensions, insulation batting lines, anything that's an annotation or a detail component, that type of thing. I'll take any text notes, and I think that's it. So I've just selected those. I'll isolate it just so you can see what we've selected. I'll Control C. I'll come into my first floor plan. Now if I click into this section, You can see this one is not nice and drawn up, it's just the default sort of Revit backgrounds. If I do Control-Shift-V, paste in place, all that stuff comes through and my section is set up just exactly the same way the other one is. Now I do have to go through and do a little bit of editing because some things aren't in the same place, like the windows aren't in the same place in this section, but I got 90% of the stuff I needed. Okay, this works in plan as well, any drawings that are vertically in line with one another. So if I select these lines in this text, I'll copy it, I'll go up to my second floor plan, Control-Shift-V, and I'll just change this text note. It was open to above, now it's open to below, because this is the second floor plan. And this also works in views that are opposite one another. So if I come into this front elevation, you can see it's all detailed, annotated up. If I select this filled region I'm using to represent the grade, Control-C, I'll come into my floor plan, I'll go to the rear elevation, which is mostly done, but I don't have the grade, Control-Shift-V, and there it is, the exact opposite. It's the exact as it was before, and it knows that it's facing the opposite direction. So make use of views that are perfectly in line, whether they're section or plans, or views that are exactly opposite if they happen to be elevations. Okay, the fourth thing you can do is arrange your workspace to be more efficient so you can more quickly access the information you need. I'm recording both of my monitors right now so you can see, so if you're on a phone it might be a little bit small. But when you first open up Revit, the default is to give you your drawing board right here in the center with your properties and your project browser stacked on the left. And both of these windows have a ton of information that you need to click on, if not just look at all the time. So it's a little bit frustrating to have to scroll all the time to find what you need. The quick fix is to just click on one of them and drag it over to the other side. When it highlights blue, you can drop it there, and now you can see I'm able to see my sections, my plans, without really even scrolling too much. I might have to scroll a little bit, but not as much as before. And my properties, I can see all the properties at once, so I don't have to do any scrolling there. If you have two monitors, which is ideal, you can bring one or both of them over to the side. So I always have my project browser here, which gives me even more vertical space to see all the different objects that are in my project. It helps expand my drawing board even more, and my properties stay right over here, and I can see all those at once. And then with the second monitor, you can always have whatever resource you need to help you design, whether it's Pinterest or House or a building code or the ADA or some red lines. Whatever it is, you can have some other resource over here on your monitor that's helpful to you when you're working in Revit, so you don't have to keep switching back and forth. So those are the 4 things that you can practice and work on immediately to get faster at Revit. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. If you've got a question or a request for a future video, leave a comment. And thank you for watching.